Americans have been long awaiting for a relief in consumer prices. Unfortunately, that may not materialize in 2025. In fact, the cost of many essential goods and services is already reaching new record highs. And according to a recent analysis released by the National Retail Federation, prices are set to jump even higher over the next few months. Though inflation isn't nearly the problem it was a year or two ago, consumers will still have to deal with ballooning bills this year. At the moment, the overall annual inflation rate is sitting at 2.7%, only 0.7% higher than the Federal Reserve's target of 2%. However, that doesn't mean that Americans' buying power has been restored. Prices may not be rising as fast as they were a couple of years ago, but they're not coming back to pre-pandemic levels either. In many categories, products will be facing much steeper price increases than they did over the past 4 years, and that's regardless of the incoming tariffs that can separately cause price hikes of up to 60% on everyday goods. Today, we've compiled 15 items that are about to get even more expensive over the next few months, so you can start preparing right now. Without further ado, let's check out this list. 1. Coffee. For millions of American households, a simple cup of coffee will become more of a treat rather than a staple this year. That's bad news for those who need their daily dose of caffeine to start their day. Drought in Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, has resulted in large crop losses and pushed the prices of Arabica beans, which are grown in Central and South America, to a record high last month. In addition, increased global demand and rising shipping costs are also contributing to higher inflation for this popular beverage. 2. Travel. If you're planning to travel in 2025, make sure you book your flights in advance because several airlines have announced they're going to raise their prices starting this spring. Not only volatile factors such as jet fuel prices can impact airfares, several companies, especially affordable airlines, have been coping with financial problems for quite a while now. Flight deal site Going.com forecasts higher fares from now on, citing airlines slowing flight capacity and budget airlines struggling. The American Express Global Travel Group projects an increase of up to 15% in prices for economy flights within North America, mentioning ongoing labor disputes and pilot shortages in its latest report. 3. Streaming services. Some major streaming services have also announced higher prices for 2025. Those include YouTube TV, which will go up from $72.99 per month to $82.99 per month. Netflix is going to raise subscription prices by as much as 16% depending on the plan, with the cheapest ad-free plan going up from $15.50 to $18, while the premium ad-free tier will cost $25 compared to $22.99 last year. Other platforms such as Discovery Plus, AMC Plus, and Fubo also reported similar increases, causing frustration amongst subscribers. 4. Home insurance. For the 4th consecutive year, the cost of home insurance is becoming more expensive in the United States. Homeowners in disaster-prone states, and particularly in California, are set to face the biggest price hikes due to the impact of extreme weather. In the first half of 2023, the average cost of a new policy was $1,861, according to Matic, an insurance firm. By the end of 2021, that number has surged to $2,112. And now, estimates from the analysts at Bankrate indicate that home insurance costs will hit $2,458 by the summer. That's an increase of almost 50% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Sadly, this means many families will not be able to afford insurance bills and will likely have to go without it, which will render them vulnerable to unexpected events. 5. Appliances. If you're in need of new household appliances, you shouldn't postpone your purchase any longer. From stoves to refrigerators to washing machines, and even simpler appliances like portable grills and juicers, these products are going to face an across-the-board price readjustment this year due to higher import costs. The vast majority of these items are either produced or assembled overseas. According to Jonathan Gold, the Vice President of Supply Chain and Customs Policy at the National Retail Federation, household appliances will cost consumers $6.4 billion to $10.9 billion more as a result of the new tariffs. That's why it's a good idea to start replacing your old and broken products for new ones sooner rather than later. 6. Cars and auto parts. You planning to change your vehicle for a new model in the near future? If that's the case, wait no more. Shifting U.S. trade policies with Mexico and Canada are expected to push car prices up again because more than 58% of auto parts sold in the U.S. are imported from those two countries, as reported by the Auto Care Association. Drivers should also make car repairs they've been putting off before parts become costlier in the months ahead, which will likely add hundreds of dollars to their car maintenance bills. 7. Furniture. Is your furniture still in good condition? Or your sofa, bed, and dining table? Maybe they've seen better days? Maybe you should start to evaluate if your furniture is going to hold up for a few more years, and if that isn't the case, consider shopping for deals now, because the NRF study estimates that consumers will pay $8.5 billion to $13.1 billion more for furniture this year compared to last year due to the higher tax for imports. The best way to fight inflation is to get ahead of it. 8. Home renovations. Building material costs are expected to rise another 10% to 15% this summer, with a variety of factors including the rising cost of lumber, strong housing demand, and environmental and supply chain disruptions, all combining to send home renovation costs soaring in the coming months. Experts with wooden pallet distribution company First Alliance Logistics Management warn that if you're thinking about renovating your home or tackling home maintenance projects, you should not delay. I would definitely start having conversations with contractors, said Ted Eshe, who recommends locking in prices before lumber prices face another seasonal readjustment. 9. Restaurant meals. Be ready to pay more when you go out to eat in 2025. Given that food shortages are already occurring and the cost of basic items continue to rise amid lower production and robust demand, restaurant prices are about to skyrocket as owners struggle with elevated costs. The U.S. Department of Agriculture predicts that menu prices will increase at a pace of 3.5% per quarter, and industry analysts say consumers will see less freebies, less deals this year. 10. Shoes. You might have to buy second-hand shoes this year if you want to stay on budget. The NFR study also projects that consumers will have to spend $6.4 billion to $10.7 billion more to buy new footwear in 2025. Most shoes sold in the United States are not made in the U.S., but in Asian countries, which are facing the highest tariffs of up to 60%. In other words, if your walking or running shoes aren't in a good state, don't miss the opportunity to buy new ones before they become much more expensive. 11. Alcoholic beverages. Popular alcoholic beverages like Mexican beers, Modelo, and Corona, as well as tequila and Tennessee and Canadian whiskey, are going up in price too. American companies that import these products are passing on the increased import taxes on to us, the consumers, while some are importing less, which will potentially result in inventory holes and the eventual shortages at stores. Modelo became the #1 beer brand in the US in 2023 and still occupies the top spot, at least for now. The alcoholic beverage category has been largely free of tariffs since the 1990s. Industry leaders from the US, Canada, and Mexico issued a joint statement in January saying they were deeply concerned that the new trade policy could push hundreds of companies out of business. They say certain brands can only be produced in their designated countries because they're recognized as distinctive products. For that reason, the production of these drinks cannot be moved, consequently impacting supplies and impacting prices. 12. Maple syrup. Another breakfast staple that's going to cost more from now on is maple syrup, according to Thomas Sampson, Associate Professor of Economics at the London School of Economics. Canada is responsible for 75% of the entire global production of maple syrup, with about 90% of the production located in the province of Quebec, where the world's sole strategic reserve of maple syrup was set up 24 years ago. Mr. Sampson said that maple syrup is going to become more expensive, and that's a direct price increase that households will have to face. He continued, "If I buy goods that are domestically produced in the US, but are produced using inputs from Canada, the price of those goods is also going to go up," he noted. 13. Fuel. Prices at the pump can escalate very quickly this year. That's because Canada is our largest supplier of crude oil. According to the latest official trade figures, 61% of oil imported into the U.S. last year came from Canada. Even though the U.S. doesn't have a shortage of oil right now, our domestic refineries are designed to process thicker crude oil, which comes mostly from Canada and some from Mexico. Many refineries need heavier crude oil to maximize flexibility of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel production, analysts with American Fuel Petrochemical Manufacturers said. That means that if Canada decides to retaliate the new U.S. trade policy by reducing crude oil exports to our country, prices could soar overnight and fuel stations could face extended outages. 14. Avocados. Your bowl of guac and your avocado toast are expected to become less affordable. About 90% of avocados sold in America are grown in Mexico due to its warm, humid climate. Supplies are about to become scarcer at stores, and you should brace for some real sticker shock when it comes to avocados. 15. Toys and video games. Video game consoles like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, as well as toys that are imported from China, might double in price by the 2025 holiday season. Not only are these products extremely popular gifts, they're also likely to face the steepest price hikes as a result of these tariffs. People also hoard those in-demand items to sell them later for a profit online, so stay on the lookout for deals while you still can. Now is the time to shop smartly. It's key to analyze your household needs and see how you can save on costs by purchasing products before prices rise far past your budget. The struggle is not over. It'll take a tremendous amount of work to take the U.S. economy out of the hole. Lower inflation numbers on paper do not mean anything if we keep seeing higher prices at the stores. With shortages already sparking panic amongst consumers and wiping out grocery shelves, you should definitely act while you still can. What are your thoughts about all this? We look forward to reading your comments. Please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.